What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 11 of Trigun Stampede. We are getting towards the end of this season. I believe there's one episode left, and it seems like it with what's kind of culminating with the episodes moving forward. We will be going full spoilers ahead, so if you have not seen this episode, I don't know what you're doing here, unless you are listening to us talk about it, you're not watching it, but I would encourage you to check it out. But yeah, we will be talking about everything in detail, so you've been warned. So real quick recap. I'm not going to go into all the details because there's a lot of stuff kind of given to us through a lot of dream sequence flashback stuff, but basically Vash got trapped from the last episode with Nye and oh god, what's her name? The journalist, Meryl? She is coming to help Vash and has Roberto's gun after he has passed, runs into, Wolfwood. And he's kind of on his way out. He kind of sees things as like, well, what he had to do is complete, although you can definitely tell there is a conflict in him at the time that's being hinted towards. But of course, she is getting into everything, so she heads to help Vash. She runs into the scientist, I forgot his name, who is helping Nye and threatens to shoot him. He says, "You won't shoot me." Kind of pushing forward even more. This dude's super committed to what he's trying to do, which you find out later in the episode. He's very committed to it as he's near death. But essentially, through a lot of discussion, we find out that all the plants are conduits between two dimensions that are able to not quite. That's where the power's coming from, is from one dimension to another. But they don't have souls, so they can't. I guess function the same way as Vash and Nye can, because they are what they're called independents. So we get this information that's kind of interesting. And Nye essentially wants to use Vash as a way to access the other dimension and the core there, and essentially turn all these plants into independents, thus, creating this new world of plants with more autonomy and then just, being these things that can be used in between dimensions. So kind of, even further, again, pushes him in the direction of like, he doesn't care about humans. He's trying to get his people running everything, essentially. So yeah, while that is kind of all thrown on us, there's a lot of information. Vash and Nye are in a tank. Nye essentially plugs into him with his knives, and they are taken to a dream state where there's a lot of conversation about who Vash is, how he is the way he is, that he's just running away from everything, things we've seen a lot through the show already. And then there's a lot of flashback dream sequences where Vash is seeing people that he feels like he has let down in the past, people who have died, and Nye is just kind of like taking these people out in front of him, just traumatizing the hell out of him. I guess trying to delete the memories and synchronize with him. While this is happening, there's a synchronization happening on a computer showing how much they are remaking Vash, as they say. They want to remake him because he's not going to cooperate in what they want to do. Although Nye does offer, again, in the dream sequence for him to help him, he doesn't want to. So they're going to do things by force. We get a lot of information on what happened back on the ship with Nye, Vash, and Rem, and their relationship, which seemed pretty good. Nye seemed kind of like an edgy kid, but not quite the evil kid he turns into, and Vash is definitely the sweet kid of the two. But it seems at one point they, while snooping around, find out that there was another independent like them on the ship before, that seems to have been dissected into pieces. This is obviously pretty shocking to them, and kind of feels like a beginning point of all of Nye's suspicions of who he is, what they're doing here with humans, stuff like that, and kind of sets him on his path. He also reads a book about the history of humanity, sees that they constantly are at war with each other, and nothing has essentially gotten better with humanity. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So you can kind of see we're starting to become detached from the idea of even caring about these people. Yes, we get that. We get a final sequence close to the end of synchronization where Vash is hugging Rem as she's slowly deteriorating as a memory. Nye slices her head off in front of him. More, traumatizing of Vash. While this is all happening in the real world, though, Vash is slowly solidifying and growing roots everywhere that are going everywhere. They're covering the lab. They're going into the city of July that they're in, to the point where the soldiers there start shooting at it, and it almost seems like it's starting to create an entity of some kind. This giant thing that I have no frame of reference for, so I don't know what we're doing in episode 12, but it seems like it's going to be big. And yeah, so that's happening. The place is shaking. The doctor kind of reveals that he is dying, but not permitted to die until Nye can do what he is tasked to do. And but he's coughing up blood. Meryl's trapped under one of the roots. And finally, they hit 100%. Vash gets completely solidified, and a portal opens, as that's been the plan with this the whole time. He can open these portals, and Nye goes in, finds the core, and then all of the plants start being affected by it. And yeah, it just kind of ends pretty quickly. So something's going to happen big in the next episode, and because this will be the end of the season, I'm hoping there will be some kind of satisfying conclusion. It's not just a huge cliffhanger to a season we don't know we're getting or not. So what do we think of this episode? It's a big one. There's a lot of stuff going on. No action, but just straight up a lot of stuff. And a lot of really good animation in this episode. I mean, they always have it, but like in this episode, I was like, a lot of this stuff is really well animated. I feel like it had a budget.
Yeah. I think probably one of my favorite things about this episode was just the constant imagery that they were presenting.
Yep. That was a cool looking episode.
Yeah, they did a lot of very like, how do I word this? Very artsy like scenes that are definitely like meant to like be emotional per whatever event was happening in his flashbacks, his memories, as they're being deleted, and
on top of that too, the soundtrack was like really good with the visuals.
Yeah. Really early on when Nye's essentially like deleting memories by like killing these images of people, it started off with like a little bit of blood, and then it kind of evolved into flower petals, which you saw kind of like awoken other memories in Vash too. I thought that was an interesting touch. Which normally I would be, I'm a little like, the flower thing has been used a lot in media for like portrayals of like, blood and stuff like that. But
Sure.
I think it was handled really well in this. So it was very fitting as well, being that, it went back to the gardens and stuff like that the ships were attempting to, have, so they could land somewhere and spread those among whatever planet they landed on. We didn't really get to see a lot of the side cast. We technically saw Meryl a lot, but she's mostly just screaming at Vash and kicking Wolfwood in the shins, which was pretty funny. But I am fully expecting to see Wolfwood come back. He obviously was torn between what he's used to and like a newfound attachment, I assume, to
his past life and where he's at now.
And that was conveyed very well. We've said it, a million times in this show, but the way they handle expressing emotions on characters is excellent. So it's really hard to like miss a beat. How people feel instantly. So
yeah,
it was also interesting. The doctor's basically alive because Nye needs him alive. That's it. So as soon as this is all over, he's not going to need him anymore. That'll be the end. So kind of an interesting tidbit there.
It just adds gravity to how down for the cause he is.
Yeah.
Even under threat of getting shot, he's just like you'll kill Vash anyway, but like, for him, like this needs to happen.
And then Nye essentially needing Vash's his power, which he has no practical use. He's had it for. He's accidentally used it in the past, but to be able to open gates to essentially their original dimension, I believe, as it was implied.
Yeah, it's interesting how Nye, even in the dream flashback thing, has like pretty forward abilities that he's able to do, and he was told not to do that once people wake up, just to kind of blend in or whatever. But it's easier for Vash because he doesn't have any outside of crazy agility and reflexes. He doesn't really have knives to like summon and do crazy stuff with, but we've seen him kind of be a plant whisperer with the other plants. He has a plant, but like it seems like he has a better connection with them, and also with that he is a portal gate to another dimension, which doesn't sound as exciting, but it's one thing he can do that Nye can't. So it kind of makes sense why Nye needs him so bad. But also trying to do the workaround of like, even if you don't cooperate with me, how the hell do I access that? So
yeah, and then the ending imagery of the roots taking a humanoid form and blossoming a bunch of flowers all around it was really cool looking. But obviously, I don't know if that is more than just imagery or if it has a deeper meaning, which we'll see next episode. So
yeah, it was cool looking, pretty creepy looking, and as soon as the roots started destroying the city, I was like, typical Japanese, dude. Fucking just destroy everything. Destruction. Fucking everything's just getting ripped apart.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for me, though. I liked it a lot. I hate that I have to wait a week because that was a really crappy place to stop that episode.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I feel like it gives a lot of info. It's giving us the beginning of whatever this conclusion will be, but yeah, I was left going like, well, what are we doing? Like, what's going on here? So, yeah, can't wait to see that episode. Hopefully, like I said, it ends in a way that I can feel like, okay, that's season 1 done. It has something to make me want season 2, but I just hope it doesn't end in a way that I'm like, oh man, like I gotta wait till the next season. That might not happen if it doesn't happen. Because I'm a huge fan of Berserk, so for a long time I had to just accept that the original seasons were just done, and it ended at the worst spot ever. Anyone who's seen the show knows how that is. So I'm always paranoid of things like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is. I think this will just be it.
Oh, really? There's nothing after this?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, fuck me then. I thought the original Trigun went longer than that.
Sure, but I think they've condensed it for this. So. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know anything about the original source, and I haven't kept up with if there's intent to make more of this or not. But
oh well, if this is the end, then I guess my point still stands. Hopefully, it ends in a way that I feel satisfied with, because there's a lot happening here to rely on one episode to finish that off is quite a bit, especially now that you're telling me this is going to be like possibly just the end.
Yeah,
that's a lot. So
it is.
But yeah, it would make sense though too if they just did one season, just because like the budget's so high on this that it feels like they might have other things they want to do in their life, like other shows and shit. So
probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall though, I like the episode. Like I said, not a big action episode, but no episodes in the show really are. It's just a lot of dialogue for the most part, with some cool things happening every once in a while, like on the ship with the shootout was cool, stuff like that. But this episode was definitely just a build up to a conclusion, giving us information that kind of fills in some of the gaps. Finding out that plants, and what the difference between them as plants and the other plants is, the independent thing, and how plants, they get their energy from another dimension. So like I said, they're kind of conduits in that sense. Also a point that gets brought up too, because it seems like they're always kind of pushing back and forth on whose fault things are. Vash said humans only use the plants in the way that they do because they got stranded on this planet, in which, Nye keeps telling him, it's his fault that they're even here in the first place. So there's a lot of games going on there, but it's an interesting dynamic. And then finally seeing what's up with Vash when it comes to the portals is interesting. I was kind of hoping there'd be a little bit more info on that, but it was just kind of dropped on us, and it makes sense, but it seems kind of quick. Let's see. Curious to see what Wolfwood will do in the next episode, because I'm sure he's not just going to bounce. I'm curious to see what the giant thing that's being built is. Definitely seems like something that is worthy of being in a finale. So, yeah. Dream sequences are really cool, though. You were kind of talking about earlier, the visuals, and I brought up the music. But one thing I appreciated about it was the transitions between bleak visuals to nicer looking visuals, and also characters changing form. It felt very dreamlike, like when you're having a dream and you're in one place, or whatever you're dreaming about's one place, and then all of a sudden you're in another place in a dream. It had that same feel to it. So that was a nice touch, because it's kind of hard to get that down. I think they did a good job with like Nye being Nye, and then being kid version of Nye, and then transitioning him going from like trying to, wipe all these memories as an adult to becoming the kid, to having the flashbacks of them as a kid. It had this kind of seamless momentum that I appreciated, because most of the episode was this. They did it very well. And then, animation is fantastic. Again, if you don't like 3D, that's fine. But if you think this 3D is bad, you're crazy, because it's fantastic looking. And I'm always impressed with it, even in an episode where mostly two people are just floating in a tank, and there's just a lot of cool environments we're seeing. So, also, I thought it was very interesting when they found out about the other independent. I was reading some comments, and I think somebody had said the name of that independent from the manga. So it's nice to know at least they're following some, at the least, beats from the manga. Yeah, good episode. Can't wait to see how they finish it. And if you know, without spoiling anything, is this just ending, or is there going to be another season? Because I'm completely ignorant, obviously. So yeah, I'm really curious about that. Either way, it's cool. I mean, if they can finish it off, good. That's all I care about. So
For sure.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say on it?
No, it's been an interesting ride with like almost no knowledge of the original going into this. I just kind of remember all the goofy moments in the little bit I did see the original. So seeing this show, having a little bit of that in the beginning, but it's mostly been a very serious show. So
yeah, for sure.
And I've really enjoyed that. So.
I at some point at my leisure, I'm curious to check out the original anime, just to see how close they are, and if they're similar in like story, or if they deviate a lot. Because I saw somebody post, what was his name? Livio? I think it's Livio, the assassin guy. They posted him from the original anime next to his new design, and he's very different looking. It's much more Western looking in the original, and so he looks kind of like a cowboy. So it's really interesting that the character exists in both stories, but very different looking. So,
yeah, I heard they pulled back from the Western thing a lot in this one.
Yeah.
So,
which I do like the way this show looks. I do like the design of everything, but I do kind of miss that aspect of it being a Western. I think the first like 3 episodes maintained that Western feel, but they definitely got the hell away from that pretty quickly, with everybody being dressed very modern. And going towards July, we got away from like the Western saloon feel. So I feel like almost the first couple episodes like an homage to that. But yeah, it makes me interested in seeing the original anime to see if it holds up, and also just how similar or different is it. So
for sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think of this episode 11 of Trigun Stampede. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? If you did like it, what didn't you like about it? If you didn't like something about it, We think about how they're handling the whole Nye plugging into Vash and getting the portal. We think about the plants. What do you think Wolfwood's going to do? Unless you do know, don't tell me. And yeah, how are you liking the season so far? Are you ready for episode 12? And yeah, let me know everything you think about in the comments below. But I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Till the next episode, which will for sure be the finale of this. We'll talk to you guys later.